So Paraguay was still closed. Our whole plan was based on Paraguay being open again. What are we gonna do if Paraguay is not opening the borders? Well, our documents to get the Paraguayan residency were now valid for just under 6 months. The world is still on lockdown and we want to work and travel as a modern-day nomad in South America. We were checking for updates almost every day and we're trying to figure out alternative ideas. We made sure we had to move out of our apartments by September. Burning bridges, you know? A good way to ensure a plan goes through. There is no other way but to go forward. We were going to wait to book the flights till the beginning of September, just a few days before we could leave. Summer was coming and things felt free and normal again, but I already knew that Austria would have another lockdown soon. It was clear all countries will. This will not stop anytime soon. But we needed to make sure to get out for as long as the borders were still open. It might be our last chance. My friend Kim from Sweden was feeling the same way about his situation in Europe. I had met Kim a decade earlier at my travels in Africa. We enjoyed some time together at Lake Malawi and then later on met up again in my home in Los Angeles. Our desire for freedom and the urge to see the world connected us over the years. He already moved his residency out of Sweden to Bulgaria. But somehow the Iron Curtain of the European Union kept him feeling uneasy about his whole existence. Throughout the summer, we were debating our situation. With him having Mexico as the next country of his escape in mind, Mexico had no border closures throughout the whole charade and let Europeans and Americans stay with a visa for 6 months. Definitely a place that we kept in mind and as an alternative destination to Paraguay. But would Europe even let us leave? Even a few years ago, already I started to focus on minimalism, reducing all my possessions to the necessary. Over the past 2 years, I made sure that I sold everything that was not relevant to a normal lifestyle. That process got me some money in the bank and paid for my necessary travel equipment. Watch some of my gear review videos about backpacks, headphones and the Apple Watch on my YouTube channel. You will find the links in the description. At this point, my only remaining big possessions were my dear motorcycle, a Honda Varadero 1000, and the just recently inherited small Fiat Panda. I was never planning on having a car in Austria, but for my last few months in Austria, it was actually a blessing. Even though I had problems fitting into this tiny box on wheels, I used the Prada for a car sharing website and it turned out to be a customer favorite. The car made me money and my personal usage of it was basically free. I put both vehicles up for sale and the Panda was desired really quickly. Though we wanted to hold off a bit longer on selling it just yet. We thought we should wait until we have confirmation for open borders in Paraguay and a flight until we tell our families and friends that we would be leaving. But it seems like the world would become a very, very weird place. And this all is kind of like a last-minute decision. So it was time to let go. For one last time, we were driving to see our families again. Our first stop was with my uncle and his family at the Castle Laxenburg. We had some encouraging conversations about our travels and spent a relaxing afternoon at the castle gardens. Our next step of the journey brought us to a small town in Styria, where Alexandra said goodbye to her family. Our further journey made me reunite with my sister at her horse's stallings. We were able to use that time to go on a cheerful horseback riding walk with her and our friend Anna. In Graz, I could say goodbye to some of my old friends and my parents. They couldn't quite understand why I had to leave Europe and pursue my luck, but they were happy for me that I had such a big drive and to see the whole world, and they wanted me to be happy. A hard part of my journey was to seeing my grandparents, probably for the last time. Both of them were around 90 years old. My grandfather's health was deteriorating drastically. I was gonna visit him and my grandmother together, but he was brought to a hospital just a day earlier. I got lucky to make it in time to the hospital and was granted just like 15 minutes of visiting while wearing one of those ridiculous masks. The hospital was empty, just like one would expect in times of a pandemic. My grandfather and me always shared a strong connection. As a kid, we went hiking and skiing together a lot. He was very proud of me, and I looked up to him as someone who understood and guided me with my paths. He always admired my strength to do things my own way and that I traveled the world. He always told me about how he wanted to travel himself and how he's proud of me that I followed through with it. He liked to suggest that I could also travel nearby, closer to him and my grandmother, so I can see him more often, but he understood that I had to go my way. I was glad I could be close to him one last time. The visit at my grandmother's afterwards was a success too. She was excited to see Alexandra and me and was happy for us of having such a big journey in front of us. The day after, we returned to Vienna and I was able to sell the car. Everything went well. The car was well worth the investment of time. It made me money while I had it and through the sale. Enjoy your future travels, my dear Panda. Now things looked a little bit different though with my motorcycle. 4 years of regular usage all throughout the year, even in the winter, showed its signs, and the strong work hours, even lowering the price, was not really attracting more sellers. So without a miracle, I would have to ride the motorcycle to my parents' place last minute and then have it parked there, and I really didn't want to do that. Our families for sure were glad to see us one last time, but also wondered where we would actually go. Time was closing in and we weren't sure ourselves. Even in late summer, Paraguay still seemed to wait with letting foreigners cross their borders. And we were worried our whole document hunt was a useless waste of time and resources. When celebrating our last days at our apartment in Vienna, we were keeping up with Kim's journey to Puerto Vallarta on the Mexican west coast. Was he gonna be able to make it despite all the travel restrictions? Hear more about what happened to Kim and how this influenced our trip across the ocean in the next episode of the Adventure Escape Diaries. Until then, make sure to like this video, subscribe, and check out my other content on haveyouradventure.com.